Hello everyone, my name is Rutger Wilhelm, I'm from Holland and I'm a person who clutters. Well, what is cluttering? And to be honest, that is a real complex question because cluttering is a multifaceted, complex disorder that involves all kinds of things. But I think that it's perhaps, best to start off with one of the main features of cluttering in terms of, the visible and audible things that are out there. So, for example, um, people who clutter, they often, not always, but often tend to speak fast. So especially in their own language, they are talking fast, and because of that, they are just kind of stumbling over their words, basically. So actually, the key concept in cluttering is taking more time. Um, but of course, many people, especially those people who don't know anything about cluttering at all, they tend to think like things like, for example, why don't you just talk slower then? Because it's not that big of a deal for those people perhaps, but for people who clutter it is. That is because cluttering obviously is caused by something. And I would name two things here as a cause. Well, first of all, people clutter have what is called a inhibition deficit. I mean that's is in the brain somehow. So in the part of the brain, like the basal ganglia, it's the brain stem. There is something going on there. We don't know exactly what it is yet, but at least we know that people clutter, that they again have an inhibition deficit. So they tend to do everything almost like fast talking, fast biking, fast driving in a car, fast eating, and so on. So something urges them in many ways to just go ahead. I mean, and that's the same for me. For example, I feel like there's always a motor running in my body or something, and that is of course that makes it difficult, of course, to control your speech, because that's one of the major issues for people who clutter. And secondly, people clutter, they are having problems with language planning. So, and that means, knowing exactly what you're going to say, for example, so making a concept of the message in your head, then more or less break that down into sentences and words and the structure of these sentences, and then talking, so then basically articulating that message. But because they are talking so fast most of the time, this entire process of language planning, encoding and decoding their language inside their head, then the system basically short circuits. It just messes up because it's getting so fast. This process. So yeah, so that is why they then stumble over the words, and there are all kinds of symptoms. There, like it's a wide array of them. Like for example, repetitions, interjections, sentence revisions, like I'm doing now again, and amazing. There are all kinds of symptoms attached to that, and that makes it a very difficult disorder to diagnose. First of all, so I would suggest, if you think that a person may clutter, always of course send them to a specialized speech language therapist, which is why they're called speech language therapists, of course, as well. Anyway, so yeah, and so the difference between cluttering and stuttering is, there are many, by the way, but it's really too short now to go into all of that. But I think the basic difference is that people who stutter, I mean the classic stutterers, they they know exactly what they want to say. They've got everything in their head already, but they just have problems pronouncing them. So they are, like stuck in the words, or they are, they're having difficulties. For example, they are tension. I think they are prolonging their sounds and syllables in a tensed way. So, like for example, the weather or something, or like a book, so that is the true classic form of stuttering. Whereas people clutter, they actually don't have that. Sometimes they do have that because there's also a mixed form of it. So clutter stuttering or stutter cluttering. These people are actually in the majority. So pure cluttering, is more rare than the combination. But still, people clutter tend to talk, through, so they're not stuck. And so people who stutter, they also don't have difficulties most of the time in their language planning system. So it's all about the articulation, so the coordination of their speech muscles and stuff like that. So what help is available for people who clutter? Well, there are quite some resources actually. So first of all, the website of icacluttering.com. It's from the International Cluttering Association. That's really helpful, but I think that's mostly for researchers and therapists. There is one, it's actually my website, which is full of anecdotes, full of stories, full of easy to understand information on cluttering, and that's called toofastforwords.com. So I hope this is all clear to you. If there are any questions, of course, please don't hesitate to mail me. And again, there's much more information on my YouTube channel, for example, as well, and on my website. So please go there and have a look. Okay, thank you so much and good luck.